You're strapped in to a live radio broadcast on Pure Rock Radio.
Get your piece of the internet with GoDaddy.com. Go to purerockradio.net/GoDaddy for coupon codes to save. Like 10% off all GoDaddy hosting plans. $5 off any GoDaddy purchase of $30 or more, or $7.49 domain names. That's purerockradio.net/GoDaddy for a complete list of coupon codes, or enter POD 167 to save 10% on all GoDaddy hosting packages today.
Welcome to the MUSE Bin. All music, all the time. What are you listening to? MUSE Bin Radio.
Hey boys and girls, it's Tuesday night. We are live in Los Angeles. Welcome one and all to MUSE Bin Radio. We are ready to rock tonight, and we got a lot to talk about. Most importantly, we want to hear from you. You can give us a call toll free. That's right, no charge, no extra charge. Just give us a call toll free at 888-405-7440, or if you're just too shy to be on the air, drop us an email at usebinradio@usebin.com. Like I said, we got a lot to talk about tonight. April 17th was Record Store Day. We're going to talk about that. I was at the Coachella Festival. We're going to talk about that. We also want to know who's on your concert bucket list. What bands have you always wanted to see but never got around to seeing? We're going to talk about all this and more, and we want to hear from you. Hey, brother man, how are you?
I'm good, and I think we're going to talk a little Rush tonight.
We are most definitely going to talk a little bit about Rush.
I know that's a stretch for us.
Yeah.
We don't generally do this. We're going to step a little bit outside of ourselves and have a little conversation about the Holy Trinity.
Indeed, because if you were a Rush fan, you probably know that today was a big banner day because it was pre-sale for Rush tickets.
Well, at least for half the country.
That's right.
I think the other half went on last week, but this half of the country went on today, so... It seems to be, it was all Rush all day today.
So half the world has tickets and half the world is waiting.
That's right.
Wow, I see how this works out.
See how that works?
I see, very nice.
And there you have it.
It's sort of like two different hemispheres, if you will, of Rush fans.
That's correct.
That's right.
It's time and emotion.
Wow.
And there you have it.
Okay.
We've got...
That's all good. That's all good.
Also, real quick, before we get going, a little bit of business to take care of. Joe gave you the phone number. It's toll free, so we are going to pick up the tab.
That's right. Once again, it's 888-405-7440. Chime in about anything we're talking about tonight, or anything that's on your mind, music-related or otherwise. We want to hear from you.
You can also get a hold of us if you want to post something up on the Facebook page. You can do that. It's Used Bin Radio on Facebook, because we're extremely technologically advanced.
Indeed.
And I've gotten a crash course in Facebook in the last 7 days.
That's right.
So go check us out on Facebook. Let's be friends. Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? Yeah. There's a reason we don't sing. Anyway, so go ahead and do that. That's been a lot of fun, the whole Facebook thing. I've enjoyed talking to a few of you guys out there.
Just a few? Some of them you didn't enjoy talking to?
Well, yeah. If you want me to be quite honest with you, absolutely.
All right.
And I'll leave that up to your imagination who that is.
Fair enough.
So that's it. Also, I want to say, a quick sad note to start the show, because that's generally how we start the show, about Peter Steele from Typo Negative.
Moment of silence.
And there you go. Okay. And sad to hear that. I was shocked, actually, to hear about the death of Peter Steele. I was a bit surprised. And I wasn't the biggest Typo Negative fan, although I did like, was it Bloody Kisses, I think was the big record.
Right.
So I enjoyed that record, but I didn't love Typo too much. But he was a young guy.
Young guy, and, very, whether you liked him or not, very distinctive sounding voice.
Certainly. And I distinctive guy.
Yeah.
I think I was 6'8".
Indeed.
He was 6'8", and but it's funny, as we were a few of us were emailing back and forth when we heard about Peter Steele. The first thing that came to my mind wasn't that the dude that was in Playgirl?
Yeah.
And sure enough...
Had a big penis, too.
Well, he's a big guy. Yeah. He was, he was anatomically correct.
He was 48. They've listed it as heart failure.
Yeah, I think it was natural causes or heart failure.
Yeah.
It's a shame, man. It's a drag.
I actually got a quote from Trent Reznor.
Yeah.
And Trent had this to say. He said, "Rest in peace, Pete Steele. He was a nice and very funny man. I'm smiling right now, recalling a funny story involving Pete, a microphone, an all-girl lipstick lesbian band, and a can of tuna fish. Ah, the good old days."
I won't even venture to guess what that's all
So use your imagination there.
But yeah, there was plenty of quotes out there about Peter Steele. A lot of people weighing in on their thoughts about him, and so obviously a pretty well-liked guy. Seemed to generally be a sad dude, though. It seemed like there was a definite aura of sadness around that guy, or depression. In fact, our friend C. Bell sent a clip of him on Jerry Springer,
right,
talking about groupies, and I was just, first of all, props to C. Bell for remembering that, which I was so shocked. And she said, "Remember it? I remember when it happened. Are you crazy?"
Yeah.
So good for her. But I watched that little clip. You can find it on YouTube. Peter Steele on Jerry Springer, and that is bizarre. I mean, I don't know, to say the least, bizarre.
And while we're on the subject, just to take a moment, I just want to say personal thanks to C. Bell for sending lots of YouTube clips, and we're going to start including those in the weekly email that we send around. And again, if you give us an email at usebinradio@usebin.com, we can also include you in the weekly email, so you'll know in advance what our topics are going to be, so you can prepare your questions and thoughts when you decide to give us a call at 888-405-7440.
Let's get right into it, pal.
Yeah, what have you been listening to?
Well, what I've been listening to, oddly enough, I think this coincides with some of your Coachella stuff.
Probably.
Is I listened to a lot of Coheed and Cambria this week. In fact, I listened to almost all Coheed and Cambria this week. I listened to the Never Ender box set, which was the box set. It's like 5 DVDs and 4 CDs or something like that. I just listened to the CDs, but it's all of the albums, all the 4 albums in their entirety that they played live. They did a certain amount of shows last year, maybe it was even the year before, where they played 4 nights, and each night they played one full record in its entirety, which is pretty much the story of Coheed and Cambria.
Right.
And I think I got on this kick because I listened to a little bit of the new record, which I really enjoy, by the way, Year of the Black Rainbow, which is great. Sort of a prequel to the Coheed and Cambria story. And so I started listening to the Never Ender stuff.
A precursor of sorts.
If you will. And so I listened to the first CD, which is the Second Stage Turbine Blade, which is fucking great. That band is so good, and they are so tight live, and those songs are just really good. And I've seen them a few times, and I mean, I really, really enjoy that band a lot. But I really like listening to these full records in their entirety. They're just beefy, and Claudio is just such a great live singer.
Yeah.
Really, really enjoyed it. And I know Coheed may not be for everybody, but they're such a... to me, anyway, I think they're a really good mix of like modern progressive rock and almost emo band. Yeah. So it's funny that the emo kids...
Somewhere in between, like your Dream Theaters and your My Chemical Romance.
Yeah. It's exactly right. And it's just odd to me that there are people out there like that. Their whole, their following started with that emo following.
Right.
But man, that's a progressive rock band, modern progressive
absolutely.
rock. In fact, so heavily influenced by Rush that. You know what I mean? If you know anything about Rush, it's almost the first thing I think of. Yeah. Well, obviously, it's the first thing I think of, but...
And to their credit...
Really good.
To their credit, Coheed and Cambria really give their fans a lot to digest. So if you could, I guess, be just a surface fan and like a couple of songs or whatever. But if you're one of those people like us who like the minutia and getting deep into the album art and and the backstory and the concepts and all that stuff, these guys give you an awful lot to chew on between comic books and graphic novels of the storyline and just interweaving characters through all the albums.
They're very old school prog in that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they definitely have their roots in prog.
Somewhere in between like Symphony X and Vandergraaf Generator, maybe.
I don't know about that. I don't know. Symphony X.
I don't know.
Definitely no Symphony X.
It's somewhere in between Presto Ballet and Magma.
Dude, Presto Ballet. Opening a show for Dream Theater.
Dude, we need more B-sides from Presto Ballet. That's what we need.
I want to go to the Presto Ballet Dream Theater show.
Oh, sure.
Oh, my God.
That's going to be a lot of notes.
Oh, I'm so in for that.
That's a lot of notes.
I wish that show was coming here.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because that's what we need here is more shows this summer.
Whoa, we got a situation here.
Little metal for you?
Sure.
Nothing wrong with this, huh?
No.
Anyway, so yeah, I did. I cranked out a lot of Coheed and Cambria, and I listened to all 4 CDs, so I listened to all the records. However, I have to say that on the first CD, the Second Stage Turbine Blade, which is actually the first record, which again, my favorite record, but Delirium Trigger Live, which is the last song on the record, is fucking retarded.
Nice.
So yeah,
we like that.
Highly recommend listening to Delirium Trigger, or even The Devil in Jersey City is great, but Delirium Trigger is smoking. Always been a standout track, but live they really pull it off nicely. So
nice.
Highly recommend it. I was going to tell you, I saw
it's sort of somewhere between Helmet of Gnats and Porcupine Tree.
Yeah, right around Helmet of Gnats. It's a little bit of Big Elf and Saga.
If you will, right in that pocket.
It's right there.
It's right in between Air Supply and Guar. Somewhere right in the middle.
That's right.
Yeah.
I went and saw Coheed one night at the Palace here, right? Small little theater here in LA.
Right.
And they did some Maiden covers, which was pretty great.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, I had my first live experience with Coheed this weekend at Coachella, and I'm going to get deeper into that and tell you more about Coachella. But I got to say, they were great.
See, and here's the funny thing about that to me. I was so excited for you to see them because I've been pushing this band on you for quite a while now.
Yeah.
And every time I say, dude, you just got to listen to this. You just got to try it. It's not for you.
Oh, no, I never thought it wasn't for me. It's just I had to get...
You always told me you weren't in. You said, dude, I get it, but it's not for me.
The few songs that I knew by them, I liked, but I think I was maybe a little hesitant because I knew this was the kind of thing where once you dive in, you're in like the whole world of Coheed and Cambria, and you got to ready to immerse yourself in it. And so I was a little resistant, but now I'm in that world, so now I'm ready to explore.
I think you're full of shit.
That could be too. I'm somewhere in between Helmet of Gnats.
No, you're in because you saw it and you dig it. I get it. Believe me, I totally get it. But this is a band, you can stay on the peripheral of the story. You don't have to get into the whole... For guys like you and me who like...
That's not me, though.
Right. That's the difference.
Yeah.
But the music itself, it totally stands on its own merit. Forget the story. The music stands on its own very well.
Yeah.
They're a very, very good band. That's a band I would love to see on Prog Nation.
Yeah.
How about them on Prog Nation?
Absolutely,
that'd be great.
Absolutely, I'll tell you. Even within the context of Coachella, they were brilliant because they don't go for a lot of like out and out metal at Coachella, and they don't go for a lot of the usual bands that you would see at festivals. Kind of your Metallica, Guns N' Roses kind of thing. The European festivals, get those big A-list headliners that were A-list 10, 15, and 20 years ago still, and are still, big bands, Aerosmith, those kind of bands. That's not what they really go for at Coachella. It's a little bit more modern. And so a lot of the stuff I was hearing, I was exposed to for the first time. And a lot of the bands were bands that I've loved forever. And so it was great just to get them all in one day. It was a massive day. Yeah. And again, I'll get deeper into this in a little bit, but we'll talk about, Faith No More and Muse and Les Claypool, even Devo.
Right.
Porcupine Tree just got an unbelievable reception, but we'll get into all of that.
Porcupine Tree at Coachella.
Yeah, it was weird seeing them in daylight.
That's all right. That's good.
What else you been listening to?
I listen to all Coheed.
Yeah? Okay.
All Coheed all the time.
All right, fair enough. Well, yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, just turn this up just for a second. It's about to end, but... Now, this could have been written any year.
Sure.
This is what we were talking about last week about this Rat song.
It could have been on Out of the Cellar.
It really could have been. Although it's a little beefier.
Yeah.
But I'm proud of those guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't usually say that about Rat.
Which, by the way, I should mention, because we're so connected in the industry as press, we were actually invited tonight to go see to go to a Rat show.
Was that at the
Key
Club?
It was a record release at the Key Club, but it was like, we got the show.
A couple things going on.
We can't let our people down tonight. So we got all that going on. But besides the fact that Saturday was a big day for me at Coachella, it was also Record Store Day.
Can I, by the way, just tell you what was going on Saturday?
Oh, sure.
Let's talk about what was happening here in LA Saturday.
Oh, what was going on?
Okay, we had Coachella.
Yes.
Jeff Beck and Zappa Play Zappa was at the Nokia Theater.
Big show.
The Eagles were at the Hollywood Bowl.
Big show.
It was Record Store Day.
Yeah.
And a little Prague supergroup called Transatlantic was in Downey, California.
Yeah.
Dude, what the hell was happening?
All the stars aligned, and
what a weird
and
this is bizarre.
Cygnus was in Uranus, and
that's the only thing missing was Rush.
Yeah, but that's coming. We got our tickets today, boys and girls. I know you're all concerned, but we're in. We're in.
By the way, quick thank you to Ed Stenger, by the way, at rushasaband.com. We had some questions about Rush pre-sale stuff, and Ed was all over it. So
yeah.
Good information as always to Ed.
He's the go-to guy. Anything you need to find out about Rush, just go to rushasaband.com because he is the man.
He's like the fourth guy in our booth.
Yeah, he's sort of somewhere in between Getty and John Rutsey.
You would think that we're having an affair with Ed because we talk about him so much. How do you think Ed would feel about us having an affair with him? Because he doesn't know. but we are actually having an affair with Ed.
Got like a whole "I love you, man" situation going on here.
I love you, Ed. Maybe at the end of every show, we'll say I love you, Ed.
How do I meet friends? If you see a cool-looking guy, strike up a conversation and ask him on a man date, okay? You know what I mean? No. Casual lunch or after-work drinks. You're not taking these boys to see The Devil Wears Prada. Oh, God, I love that movie.
Or that band.
So I guess when we actually see Ed, we'll just ask him for drinks. We won't ask him to dinner.
That's right.
Because it'll be a mandate.
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
Beware, Ed.
So, I certainly had choices and decisions to make when it came to how I was going to plan my Saturday. And what I ended up doing, of course, was Coachella. If you were at Coachella, we would love to hear from you at some point tonight. 888-405-7440, or if you were at the Transatlantic show or any of the other shows here in LA or anywhere else, we would like to hear from you. We would also like to hear from anybody who actually participated, and we hope you all did, in April 17th Record Store Day. I hope you went to a record store and supported the mom and pop stores and flipped through the dusty vinyl and maybe bought something, which leads me to my first prop of the evening that you don't know about. I'm about to take off some clothes for you, pal.
Thank God.
All right? I want you to see something.
Oh, no. This could be very scary. Oh, look at you. Oh, a little Record Store Day shirt with a Coachella at Coachella.
Yeah.
Let's see. It says it's a red shirt with a skull on it with two guitars coming out that says Coachella 2010 Record Store Day.
Right.
Very nice.
And so right in the middle of this massive festival, which had 6 stages and, art exhibits and booths of every kind and all kinds of stuff going on, they had a little record store set up right in the middle of the desert. And it was beautiful, and people were shopping for records on Record Store Day, and were flipping through vinyl and flipping through used CDs. I even took some photos of a used copy that I found of 2112, just because, it was homeless, and I felt bad for it. But I did a little record shopping. I actually hooked up with Michael Kurtz, who we had on the show.
Very good.
Who is the organizer of Record Store Day, and he was nice enough to hang out with me for a little bit at Coachella and introduce me around to some of the guys in the record store. And he had quite an operation going on there.
Did you go to the used bin?
I did. I went into the used bin, and it did our hearts good to see so many people shopping, which leads me to prop number 2. Everybody that went record shopping this weekend got one of these. I'm showing Brad my Canvas Record Store Day bag.
Right. Oh, very nice.
So if you bought a few things, they gave you the bag. And they threw in all kinds of goodies, like a little fan because it was, 85 degrees.
Hold that up. Oh, look at that. Very nice.
Gave you a little fan that you could wave.
This is like fucking show and tell, but we're on the radio.
Totally. And there was like your little schedule from Coachella with all the bands and what time they were going on.
Right.
And like some postcards from Keene. I don't know what that's
from Keene?
About. Yeah, I don't know what that's
because there's a new
about.
record coming out.
Yeah.
Is it on there? Can I see that?
Yeah. Apparently they wrote 9 songs on the road on their last tour, and so they have a postcard from each city that a song was written in. Kind of cute little promo item.
Well, that's the name of the album, Night Train.
Yeah.
8 new tracks.
Although I don't think
songs written and recorded during Kane's Perfect Symmetry World Tour in 2008-2009. Nice.
Yeah. So that's cute.
Love Kane.
So, yeah, lots of good stuff going on for Record Day.
Very nice. Well, I actually was going to head down to Amoeba for Record Store Day.
That was Smashing Pumpkins, right?
That's why I didn't go.
Oh, okay.
And it was a fucking zoo. And I saw some of the footage.
Yeah.
It was an absolute zoo. Yes, I was going to go with, I was going to see if Leah wanted to go and we maybe take the baby with us.
Right.
Yeah, I couldn't do that to the baby.
Gotcha.
I couldn't do it. It was a zoo down there. And I'll wait to see the pumpkins another time.
Yeah. Gotcha.
But glad to see that there was so much traffic. I read today a report that that sales were up 44% from last year's Record Store Day.
That's great.
So that means
great.
that everybody's doing their job out there. So well done.
And in addition to it, just being a great opportunity for people to go, get back into a record store and do a little digging, there was also, and we talked about this on the air with Michael Kurtz, there was an awful lot of limited edition releases specific for Record Store Day. A lot of bands put out some of their back catalog on vinyl for the first time. A lot of bands had special releases just for the day.
Right.
At the record store down at Coachella, there was a ton of vinyl and a ton of that stuff. In fact, there was sort of the running joke, not running joke, but the inside joke in the record store was everybody behind the counter was trying to sell the $500 Joy Division box set. And just as I was finishing up through line, and I picked up some of the Faith No More CDs that I didn't have in my collection,
right,
and a few other things. And just as I was running through line and putting on my Record Store Day Coachella T-shirt, like a little bell went off, and somebody had just sold the Joy Division box set.
Is that right? Wow.
So
why would anybody want the Joy Division box set?
I guess it was like everything they had ever released all in one box.
Yeah, like I said, why would anybody want that?
Fair enough.
Fucking Joy Division. I'll call you. Fuck that. Sorry, guys. I'll call you.
But it was a great little setup they had at the record store down there. And in fact, I got a couple of quotes from a few different rock stars talking about Record Store Day.
Okay.
Klaus from Scorpions without orchestra.
Can you see the record store in the air? Can you see it?
His quote was, what was that? Oh, we got somebody on the line? Let's see. Let's see who we got here. Hello? Who's in the used bin?
It's Snowy.
Hey, Snowy, how are you, partner?
What's that?
How you doing, buddy?
Oh, so far so good. Yourself?
Outstanding.
Doing well. It's Snowy White, ladies and gentlemen. The great and the honorable Snowy White.
The great and powerful.
Oh, you guys flatter me.
That's right. The honorable Snowy White of Radioactive Metal, which you can listen to on PureRockRadio.net.
Nice plug.
Nice plug, yeah.
I got your back, pal. What are you up to, Snowy? What's happening to you?
Oh, we're kicking back. Me and Mrs. White here. Let's just
Mrs. White.
to you guys. Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
That's what I call her.
Nice.
I like it.
So what did you do on Record Store Day?
Record Store Day, Amon Amarth came through town.
Oh, nice.
Are you familiar with who that is?
I've heard the name. I'm not too familiar, though, with the music.
Big Swedish death metal band.
Okay, fair enough.
Very nice. That's right up your alley, pal.
Yeah, it is. It is. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it out to a couple of our local record stores.
Right.
But I did buy the Support Act Holy Grail CD while I was there. I made sure of that.
I'm sorry. What'd you pick up?
One of the support acts for Monomarth, kind of a late '80s retro type metal band called Holy Grail.
Ah. Not related to Monty Python, I'm assuming.
No.
No Monty Python.
No. No. But that's the first thing I thought too when I heard that name.
Right. Oh, so that's good. So, and you picked that up. Was that at a participating record store?
No, that was at the merch booth at the show. They were supporting.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get out to one of the record stores. I'd actually gone into a store a couple days earlier and kind of blew some disposable then. So I guess I still did my part this week.
I hear you.
Lose some disposable. I like it.
Yeah.
I did that one time and I got a son.
You blew some disposable?
Yeah, it's true.
Hey, I got another question for you, unrelated to Record Store Day, Snowy, because you sort of prompted the topic tonight. A couple of weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago, you were talking about how you had just recently crossed off in a short amount of time a few bands that were on your concert bucket list.
That was one of the reasons I called. Yeah, you guys are doing the bucket list.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the bucket list, and so we want to find out who's still on your bucket list.
Who is still? For the longest time, I couldn't think of anything, and then the Scorpions had announced that this is going to be it. Last record, last tour, and yeah, they better get to my area because I've never seen the Scorpions live.
Oh, yeah, you got to go see that. That's going to be big.
They're great live, too. You'll like them. That's big
no
fun.
doubt.
Yeah, that's big fun.
You're going to go see No Doubt? Is that what you said? Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. No Doubt's at the top of your bucket list? What?
Wow, Snowy, what's going on with you, bro? So that's cool. So the Scorps are on your bucket list.
Yeah.
Who else is on that list, out of curiosity?
Oh, you guys are still going to rib me?
Oh, God. No, the guilty pleasures are fun.
Well, no, it's not a guilty pleasure since I'm Canadian, and you guys aren't going to believe this, but I've never seen Rush live.
You got to go.
Oh, whoa.
You got to go.
Snowy.
Yeah, I know. See, I live in Winnipeg, okay?
Yeah?
And back in 1982 or
Go Jets.
whatever, some brainiac from the city thought it would be a good idea to huck an object at Geddy Lee and hit him in the head while he played live here. And being a man of his word, he said, you know what, I'm never playing Winnipeg again.
I got you.
I didn't know that story.
And he kept to his word, and for just up until about 2 years ago, Rush never played my town. And when they did show up, I don't remember why, I couldn't make it. And so...
Well, so the obvious question is, did Dario ever apologize?
Actually, Dario went to the show.
Okay.
All right, very good.
He actually made it, the bastard.
Nice.
I didn't.
So you're gonna go. So you're gonna go see this tour?
If it comes here,
Fair enough.
I'm gonna make an extra special because I've never seen them before. And
Well, this will be a great one to catch because this is the Time Machine tour, so it's not like they're supporting and playing a whole ton of new music.
Although if they
right,
don't,
I heard that. Sorry, I heard they're doing the whole Moving Pictures record.
That's right.
But if they don't get their this tour, I know they're coming back next year, so you get two shots to go see them.
Yeah.
So don't blow it, Snowy.
Yeah. Be there.
I promise. I
Okay.
promise.
And then we want to hear your review as a first timer, so you'll have to give us that call.
Excellent idea.
All right. Beautiful. Well, thanks for sharing.
Sometime this year, we're going to be doing our special Rush episode, and you guys got to come on.
Absolutely.
So you let us know when. We'll be
Count
there.
us in.
Sounds good, pal.
All right, Snowy. We'll talk to you
Thanks a lot,
soon.
guys.
Take care.
For sure.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That was
Snowy
the
White.
famous Snowy White, ladies and gentlemen, from Radioactive Metal.
How about that?
You can listen to that podcast at purerockradio.net.
Yeah. I got to say that this is going to catch you off guard, but as far as what I was listening to this week, with Rush tickets about to go on sale this week, I actually listened to a little Rush. Call me crazy.
Nuts.
Call me crazy.
Yeah,
but
why not?
I did pop in some Rush. I also, for obvious reasons, I was on a big Faith No More kick. I was very excited about seeing that. In fact, we should probably go to a break in just about a moment. Oh, you got an email?
Let me read
Okay.
you this email I got from Jonathan in regards to Rush. He said, he said, let me give you something to think about. Yes, and this is in relation to our conversation last week where Joe and I were talking about if it was feasible that they would pull out some other gems on this tour. And I was under the impression, I still am, that I don't think they will. I think the gems you're getting are Camera Eye and stuff like Vital Signs and that sort of thing. But Jonathan says, yes, the Camera Eye has been the most requested song to see the guys play live amongst diehard Rush fans. I think it's very important to note here that Geddy has been quoted in the past referring to the rushpetition.com site where fans vote for songs they want to hear live. That, although they respect the fans and love us all, they still have to play stuff live that they enjoy playing. He pretty much said they'd never play Camera Eye again. Also, Neil's been quoted as saying that he'd rather not be a touring musician past age 60. I believe he turns 58 this year. If you take both those things into consideration, I don't think that it's a stretch to believe that this tour may truly be their way to thank their fans. Because, as you said, next year's tour will be in support of a new album, and let's be honest, they won't be playing as much old stuff as they'll have to play the new stuff on tour. I don't think it's beyond reasonable to think they may pull out songs such as Jacob's Ladder, another huge fan request, Hemispheres, and a large chunk of it, and Fly By Night, as you mentioned. Among many others, it's possible, just to take into account the timing of everything, next year's tour might be their last, so this tour would be the best chance to tip their hats to us fans who have supported them in their loyalty along the way. He also mentions the fact that they have played By Tour, that they could play By Tour, that they encored with at the Vapor Trails tour, and they did play a little bit of Cygnus, and it could happen again.
Right.
So, you're right. I mean, all that stuff is absolutely true. However, I would say that I think when Neil made that quote about not wanting to be a touring musician after the age 60, that was before he had a new kid, and I think that was probably before he got married. And
right,
he seems
right.
to be a completely different Neil. I almost want to discount anything he's said up until the last year or so. This is a new Neil Peart.
Right.
This is the Neil Peart that does interviews. I mean, he's the one that was, spilling the beans about this new record.
It's a new user-friendly Neil.
Yeah, so,
we like that.
Hopefully that's not the case, and we've been saying, God, how many tours have we been saying this could be the last one?
Yeah.
And sure enough, 3 years later, we get another
Yeah.
Rush tour, so.
We'll take a break in just a moment. I just wanted to share with you a couple of the quotes that people, some rockers had about Record Store Day, which really was a cool event.
Right.
Brian Fair from Shadows Fall.
Right.
He loves independent record stores. They've always been the only place you could go to find mainstream or music that's not in the mainstream. He says, I still love that feeling of walking into a great independent record store and having no idea what I might find. It's like a treasure hunt. And I would agree with that. Scorpions, I mentioned Klaus had this to say. He's got fond memories he actually remembers walking into a record store for the first time in the 50s. Dude, Klaus walking into a record store in the 50s, and he bought
That's so weird. Dio was not even born then.
Well, Dio was behind the counter. He was selling them.
No, he wasn't even born then.
And the first record he ever bought in an indie record store was My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean by Tony Sheridan. And then last, I got a quote from Mike Patton of Faith No More, who says that I love indie record stores. My first job was working at a record store. It's the blah, 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 blah. What does he say? The excitement of strolling down the aisles of a cool record store will always excite me. It's the best to do without knowing what you're looking for. I could spend hours in my favorite record store. Record stores are my candy shops.
I hear you.
Yeah, I hear you. So, and speaking of Mike Patton and Faith No More, we're going to get into Coachella in just a little bit, and we're also going to talk about your concert bucket lists and who you'd like to see live.
And that's anybody, by the way.
Yeah.
It could be, in any form, any incarnation of that band.
Although let's say not dead rock stars, because let's be practical here. Don't put Hendrix on or the Doors on your bucket list.
Okay, I see where you're going. Although I would say that
it's not going to happen.
Well, that's why it's a bucket list.
Well, that's that's a whole different angle. But no, like if you were a Faith No More fan, for the last 15 years you couldn't see him, and you might have had Faith No More on your bucket list. And this weekend at Coachella, you might have been able to knock that off your bucket list.
Then let me revise a little bit, because I understand what you're saying, and you're right. It's got to be realistic. Like you're obviously not going to see Hendrix, so I get that.
All right,
but what are some of the shows that you really wish you had seen that you didn't?
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's stuff like, for example, like Queen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a certain Queen tour or something like that. So I want to hear what you guys have to say about that. What are some of the shows you missed that you never saw that you really regret not seeing? Right. Or even shows you had a chance to see that you blew off and now you regret that. So,
okay. All right.
There you go. We'll do that when we come back from the break.
And here's a little bit of something really epic from Faith No More this weekend at Coachella.
All right, Coachella, you still fucking horny? Yeah? God damn, you guys have stamina. Keeping it up. Well, I'll tell you this, you look pretty fucking sexy. You do. Wait, Wait. I saw a guy that was really sexy. Where'd he go? That fucking guy! Yeah, you! Sing it! Hit my touch, if you can't, then it doesn't matter anyway. You will never understand it, cause the tap is a friend. And I feel so good as I'm walking the back. Yeah! So going so hit for someone. It's all good and shit's awesome. You can touch it, try, touch us so sweet. But it makes no difference, cause you're not off the beat. You want it all, but you lying on the floor, so you lay down on it and you fucking smoke. Yeah,
Hey, welcome back to the Used Bin. It's Brad Hirsch, Joe Mama with you, and that was Faith No More from this weekend's wonderful Coachella Festival here in California with a little epic.
Yeah, and like the title implies, the whole event really was epic. So I want to tell you a little bit about my Coachella experience. And also, we want to invite you to call in 888 405-7440 and let us know who's on your concert bucket list, because I know a lot of people who have probably been Faith No More fans for a long time that maybe never got to see him back in the late 80s, early 90s.
Right.
They probably got an opportunity to cross one of those bands off their bucket list just this very weekend.
It's funny, though. That band seems to be bigger, almost bigger the second time around than they were the first time around.
I would agree with that.
Very
because
strange.
At their peak, I remember they were playing, maybe large theaters, small arenas, that kind of thing, or outdoor sheds.
Right.
But I never thought I would see the day when they were playing in front of 80,000 people like they were at Coachella.
Yeah.
And they rocked that house. I got to tell you, Mike Patton is just on fire these days.
Yeah. Well, remember we saw last year, we saw them at some of the European festivals.
Yeah, Download. He was
nuts.
amazing. That was actually the reunion show.
Right, but the crowd, it's just, I mean, I think he's even surprised. I think I read a quote where he said he's just blown away at the interest.
Yeah.
The re-interest in Faith No More. It just seems to be that they're bigger and better now than they ever were.
Yeah. And they played on the main stage, and they had the full attention of the whole crowd. Everybody was there to see Faith No More, and MUSE, who was actually the main headliner on Saturday. But I got to tell you, Faith No More just kicked ass. They just blew everybody away.
Yeah.
Because they could go from those metal epics from the 80s, and then some of the lesser known epics, although the crowd seemed to know them from the later periods of their catalog, like Ashes to Ashes and stuff like that. And then they would mix it up, because Mike is just such a funny guy. They would mix it up and throw in like a cheesy ballad or something, but instead of doing like a little 30-second teaser to be goofy, they would do a whole song.
Right.
And I'm going to play you just a couple of seconds of this, because I think this is pretty funny. At
What is this?
At one point during the show, they did Michael Jackson's ballad Ben, but they did it kind of straight, and it was really funny the way they did this. See, it brings the metal mood down.
Ben, the two of us need look no more. We both found what we were looking for.
Like Patton singing about a rat.
Yeah, right?
With a friend to call my own, I'll never be alone. And you, my friend, will see.
So funny.
Got a friend in me.
That's
Awesome.
great. So that was the replacement for Easy.
Right, but it's so great because they'd follow something like that up.
Always running here and there.
I love how serious he is about all of it too. It's really funny. Are you having technical problems?
Yeah, we are.
Just kill it.
Whoops. But they would follow.
Holy shit!
They would
what the
follow.
hell is that?
They would follow something like that up with Ashes to Ashes, then just go nuts.
Right.
And they sounded so beefy. And there were moments when Mike Patton was just absolutely possessed.
Right.
And it was great to watch. And I gotta say, I got right down up front in the pit for Faith No More.
Yeah.
And I mean, just listen to him go off here.
It looks like he was having fun, huh? It's funny, they were so hesitant to get back together again. Well, and now look at them.
And they even started their set on a funny note because they opened up with Reunited and It Feels So Good.
Peaches and Herb.
So, you got a lot of metal, a little bit of humor, and Mike Patton just on fire. One of the all-time great set lists. Frontmen. But, the set list was great because they covered a lot of ground. This is, real quick, they opened up with Reunited, the Peaches and Herb song. They did From Out of Nowhere, Caffeine, We Care a Lot, Last Cup of Sorrow. Then they did the Michael Jackson Ben song, Surprise, You're Dead, The Gentle Art of Making Enemies, Midlife Crisis.
That's a greatest hit set.
Epic, Ashes to Ashes, and Just a Man.
That's a greatest hit set.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And they got they just rock the house. But my day started really early. I got down to Coachella, which is out in the desert, and it's such a beautiful setting. I got to tell you, because instead of being like in some dusty, sandy festival setting, it's on grass. These grassy rolling hills as far as the eye can see, and I got to tell you.
Right.
It's totally relaxed. They got 6 different stages, and people will gravitate to one stage, watch a band, get close if you want, because everybody's real friendly, and it's not kind of a pushing, shoving kind of crowd. You can really get up there. Then go, check out the food, check out the rides, check out all the exhibits, all kinds of interactive stuff going on, and just a general cool vibe through the whole place. So I got to check all that out early in the day before the crowds arrived. Then, like I said, I hung out at the record store that they set up on the premises that Michael Kurtz had set up. So that was all good. And then I started watching bands. And early in the day, I saw, just rattle off a couple of things that I saw. I saw this guy named Frank Turner. Oh, hang on, we got something coming in. Okay, all right, we're gonna try something technical here. We're gonna try something interesting.
Yeah, Coachella, for those of you that don't know, too, it's about, so it's not too far, which is good. I mean, it's relatively close. Not quite like a Lollapalooza, although Lollapalooza is one day, because I know that's in Grant Park, right in the middle of the city. But it's not far from from LA proper, which is what makes it great. And so they have 75,000 people there.
Yeah.
And I think they sold all 3 days out.
They sold it out.
And being that this was the first year that they did no single day tickets.
One ticket to rule them all.
So it was $300 for 3 days. Or if you wanted to go for one day, it was $300. Or if you just wanted to go see, I don't know, Jay-Z or The Dead Weather or Porcupine Tree, it was $300.
Yeah.
And that was the deal. But sure enough, with all the shit that they got for it, they sold that thing out. So that, kudos to those guys.
Yeah,
in this economy, that's great.
I was certainly concerned about, the pricey ticket. But once I see what they got going on there, and just how beautifully organized this is, and just what a memorable event they put together.
Right.
It really is kind of worth the money.
Right.
It's an unforgettable event. And it pretty much runs 24 hours, because they started bands as early as, like 10, 11 in the morning, because they got 6 different stages going on. And it goes until 4 a.m. pretty much.
Because they do the rave?
Yeah, like around 1. They've got, they start with a lot of DJing and a lot of rave tents, and even on the main stage, they had, they had like dance music and stuff going on. So if you're into that kind of thing, you could go around the clock here. In fact, fast forward to when I was leaving at the end of the night, which wasn't till about 2 o'clock in the morning, there was a line of thousands of people on their way back in for their second wind, so that they go all night with the raving, which is not my deal, but more power to them.
And that's another first, I guess, this year for Coachella, ins and outs.
Yeah.
So with your wristband, you can go in and out all day, which is very smart.
Exactly. So some of the bands, early in the day, I saw this guy, Frank Turner. You know anything about Frank Turner?
I don't.
Sort of acoustic singer-songwriter guy with a little band behind him. Somewhere in between Francis Dunnery and Damian Rice. Really surprised me. He's really good.
Right.
I want to say he's either English or Scottish or something. I definitely recognized an accent there, but very, very cool. I saw this band out of Long Beach called the RX Bandits, and kind of reminded me a bit of Humphreys McGee.
Yeah,
kind of proggy, kind of Fish-like.
They're not bad.
No, not bad. They were fun. I watched them because they were on the stage where Porcupine Tree was going to come up next.
Right.
So I wanted to be gravitated sort of around that stage, and then sure enough, Porcupine Tree came on. Now, like I said earlier, weird seeing them in daylight. Weird seeing them at sort of, let's call it what it is, sort of a mainstream pop culture event. And they're, certainly anything but mainstream in pop culture. But they got an unbelievable reception. Every time we've seen them, it's always been in a club or a small theater playing to, 500-600 people or something whenever they tour. This is the first time I never thought I would see them playing, first of all, in daylight, but to probably 8, 9, maybe 10,000 people were at that stage.
That's great.
And they got an unbelievable reception. They gave sort of the abbreviated greatest hits set, although because of all of the canceled flights due to the volcanic ash, I guess a couple of British bands couldn't get in time for Coachella. And so the band that was scheduled to go on after Porcupine Tree didn't show. So they got to do a little bit of a longer set than I think they were originally scheduled for. So their set was The Start of Something Beautiful, The Sound of Muzak, Anesthetize, which is that's good for 16, 17 minutes of the set right there. They brought down the mood a little with the ballad Lazarus, which was great. All the girls were digging it.
Yeah.
Then they hit you with Blackest Eyes, which just rocked. And then they did Time Flies and a big chunk of The Incident, which we were all kind of concerned, how are they going to squeeze that in? In fact, Steve Wilson actually said at some point, for those of you not familiar, we're going to play something now from our latest album, but because it's a sidelong piece of music, we didn't know how to do that in a festival. So we're going to kind of start midway through and play Time Flies and go from there. And then they wound up their set with Halo, which just rocked the house.
That's almost like a greatest hits Porcupine Tree set.
Yeah, if there is such a thing.
Pretty great. Yeah, that's great. Well, I can't tell you how happy I am to see those guys get a little mainstream.
Yeah, absolutely.
A little mainstream success, and the fact that all those people were there, it's great.
Yeah.
I got an email from our friend Steven who pulled a quote from the OC Register, which is the Orange County Register newspaper here in California.
Right.
And they mentioned Porcupine Tree, and they said Porcupine Tree proved to best several more high-profile hard rock bands that I also saw perform on Saturday, including Buzz Trio, Band of Skulls, and main stage rockers Coheed and Cambria. Indeed, I thought the relatively unnoticed English group performed one of the most impressive sets of the day.
Yeah.
Too, with several concert goers coming up to me and asking, who are these guys? The nuance of the British folk meets progressive rock of Porcupine Tree was a revelation, notably the beautiful and reflective Lazarus, featuring lead singer Steven Wilson seated at a keyboard and singing on one of the key songs from Deadwing. Later in the set, he set out with his bandmates on an ambitious Time Flies, one of the feature tracks on 2009's The Incident. Time Flies featured him playing both acoustic and electric guitar and showcased the natural comparisons that can be drawn between this band and genre pioneers such as Pink Floyd.
Right.
Although the quartet has been around since the late 80s, it's nice to see Porcupine Tree getting some well-deserved accolades. Count me among the group's newest fans. Now, that makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah.
That's so great to see.
Yeah, and thanks, Michael, for that very, very succinct review, because you're spot on.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if Steven mentioned any of this, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and tell you this anyway. Our buddy Steven, who was also there, he had sort of the VIP Coachella experience, and I just want to share a little bit of something that he told me about. Unless Steven's going to call and elaborate. No? Steven's not going to call?
No, he's at a screening this evening.
All right. Well, Steven had a few things to share with me about his experience.
The screening is of Deep Throat, by the way.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
He actually had the pleasure of hooking up with and hanging out with John Wesley and Steve Wilson from Porcupine Tree for most of the weekend.
Right.
So I think he was a VIP guest with the Porcupine Tree crew for the weekend. But he watched them Crooked Vultures with Steven Wilson.
Uh-huh.
That's got to be surreal.
Yeah.
He watched MUSE with John Wesley, and I'll tell you about MUSE. Boy, that was hands down one of the most stunning, visually amazing shows I've ever witnessed.
Really?
And yeah, I got to tell you, I've been a fan of MUSE for a while now. I've seen them quite a few times, and they keep getting the production bigger and bigger. But it's not even just the production, because they got all the bells and whistles there. But just the three of them on stage, it's right up there with the little trio from Canada. I mean, there's a lot of noise coming out of those three young men. And probably, I would go out on a limb and say probably one of the hardest working and finest live acts you're going to see right now.
No, I haven't seen MUSE.
Yeah, it is massive.
And I'm just not the biggest fan of MUSE on record.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't know why that is. I just can't. I have a tough time getting into them.
Yeah.
Even when this record came out, The Resistance came out, I listened to it over and over and over again. It's good. I don't hate it, but it's sort of like Radiohead to me. Like, I like Radiohead, but I just don't love Radiohead.
Well,
do you know what I mean?
At one point, apparently John Wesley turned to our buddy Steven early in the MUSE set with his jaw wide open, and he said, "My God."
I'm sure
said-
visually it's great.
He said Muse just destroyed the place. I mean, utterly destroyed the place.
Right. I read a quote actually from somebody that said that it was the of all the Coachella festivals, and I believe this is year 11.
Yeah.
That Muse was arguably the best ever.
Yeah.
To headline that festival.
It was unreal. It was unreal. They're about to tour North America right now, and if any of you people who are thinking about chiming in on our concert bucket list topic tonight are listening, give us a call, first of all, 888-405-7440. But then do yourself a favor. Reach into your back pocket, pull out your bucket list, grab a pen, and write MUSE somewhere on that list. You need to see this. This is pageantry. This is epic.
And this is Rainbow.
Yeah, and this is Rainbow. One other thing I just wanted to share, just off topic for a minute, is our buddy Steven's VIP experience backstage. He said, I did have one really surreal experience. At one point, I was backstage having a long chat with Serge Tankian about how Obama reneged on his campaign promises to recognize the Armenian genocide and how the 1945 Yalta Conference has shaped today's geopolitics. Then I opened a restroom door and Danny DeVito popped his head out and ran on stage with Faith No More. That qualifies as a surreal moment.
Although I have to say that conversation with Serge doesn't surprise me.
No,
at all.
that part didn't.
But the Danny DeVito thing is bizarre.
But
so he ran out on stage with Faith No More.
He ran out on stage just randomly. Just ran out on stage during Faith No More's
shirtless.
Was he shirtless, or did he have it open?
I think in the email I got from Steven, he said, let me see if I can find it, where he says, he makes a funny comment.
Oh, okay.
He says, several more jolts surprised during Faith No More's set. The first was seeing how old the guys look since we last saw them, blah, 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 which is what we sort of talked about. He said, and then a shirtless Danny DeVito ran across the stage during one of the songs.
Right.
It was both hilarious and disturbing. No one should have to witness DeVito shirtless if they can possibly help it.
Right. Yeah. Also, Coheed and Cambria, who I mentioned earlier, I had seen them for the first time. They were great. They really were epic. They came on stage in a puff of really like black, ominous smoke in the middle of this beautiful blue sky, perfect day in Southern California, and suddenly this black cloud literally was just foreboding, and it was very ominous. And they ended their set with the entire USC Trojan marching band on stage with them, which was pretty big.
Very nice.
Also saw MGMT.
Welcome to the club, by the way.
On Coheed?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's a good club.
That's a good one.
It's a good club. Saw MGMT. They got quite a following down at their stage. Saw Devo.
How did you like MGMT?
They were good. I didn't recognize a lot of the tunes, but I liked them.
I wonder if
they're really tight. I think they were probably playing stuff from records that I don't know.
From the new record.
That's probably it.
How did that stuff sound to you? Like, what was it like? Do you remember? The reason I ask is because I've seen all the reviews, and I haven't listened to the whole record, although I know it was posted online, and I tried. I listened to one or two songs, and it was totally different than the first record, or the previous record.
See, I wouldn't call it techno or electronica, but maybe a little bit more like beats-oriented, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
than just straight-ahead rock.
Was there any, did you get like a surfer vibe to some of the tunes?
Kind of off the Dick Dale-sounding guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
I do remember some of the stuff that I listened to on there. That's been. I mean, I didn't come up with that. It's been some of the reviews I've read, and I was like, yeah, it really does. Somebody actually mentioned it sounded more Beach Boys-ish, but I think Dick Dale guitars is probably a little more right on for me.
Right.
Oh, interesting.
Who else? Saw Devo. Same old Devo.
Yeah.
And they had quite a following.
Same old Devo, a little grayer hair.
Yeah, but they had you couldn't see them because they're wearing, flower pots on their head. But they had quite a crowd.
Did they bring out the
stage.
flower pots?
Oh, sure. Oh, sure.
I saw the costumes they were wearing. They had the gray half face.
In fact, it seemed like half the crowd was wearing blue flower pots. I think they were probably selling them at the merch stand or something like that.
Yeah, that's funny.
Saw Les Claypool, which was very weird. Very weird. Even for Les Claypool, it was weird. It was him playing a stand-up cello with a bow, with a pig mask on. And I just have this recurring image of him, going ga-ga-ga-ga-ga-ga-ga-ga. Piggies! Piggies! Just this weird, and he did that for like 10 minutes. It was just a whole surreal scene. Had a little guy playing violin in a chair and just a very eclectic little band around him. So that was weird.
Did they play anything?
Nothing that was like Primus or anything like that I would recognize.
Just random
stuff.
No Dark Side of the Moon.
No.
Fucking random.
And then, who else? A bunch of bands. This guy, Edward Sharp, who's got sort of a Fish, Dead, but actually more like, little Coheed. Who's that, I can't remember who he reminded me of.
This is off the new record, by the way.
Ah, gotcha. Who else? Saw the Ravenettes. Saw just a ton of bands. And then at the end of the night, DJ Tiesto did a big set. Which, if you're into DJ mixes or whatever, I guess this is as big as it gets because he had like all the pageantry of Floyd behind him. It was an epic production. But at the end of the day, it was
I'll be playing
house music.
I'll be playing a DJ set next week under the name DJ Testicle.
Yeah, there you go. So I like that.
Yeah, you should check me out.
I like that. Mm-hmm. We're going a little long. Should we take a little break? And then,
we can do a break. Then we'll get more into the concert bucket list.
Give us a call, 888-405-7440. And Rich, if you're listening, let us know how we sound.
Thank you, and good night. What are we going to play?
How about a little Muse? This is just epic, just because I'm in a Muse mood right now.
What is it?
This is the Stockholm Syndrome live.
From Coachella? Just from Coachella? Oh, no.
Stand in your way, lay your
Hey, welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back.
MUSE Radio. Hey, if you're just joining us, welcome. We're happy to have you with us. Got another almost hour or so of rock and roll radio for you, and but right now it's time to go to one of our favorite segments that we missed last week, which is
Rachel with the news.
Hi, Rach.
Hi, guys.
How are you?
How are you?
I'm much better.
Good.
Yeah. So
My week wasn't complete without you guys. I have to say that. So.
Well, neither was ours. Let me tell you. I can't tell you all the crazy, psycho fan emails I got. Which were, where was Rachel?
Yeah,
where was Rachel? God damn it!
All the Rachel fans came out of the woodwork. They were like, you know what? We're boycotting the show until you bring her back.
That's right.
So,
well, I told them it wasn't
thank
on us.
God she's back.
That you were just sick. So how are you feeling?
I'm great.
Yeah.
I'm actually feeling really good because we're going to see Rush. So
yeah, that's pretty. That was a good day.
You're all fired up for Rush.
That was a good
all
day.
fired up. It's a good day.
Yeah, we had the round table of emails going back and forth. All the boys that were punching away at their keyboards, working the Ticketmaster angles and all the other angles we got going on. So yeah, it's all fallen nicely into place. The Usbin family will be together.
Yay!
So what's happening in the news, Rach? What do you got for us tonight?
All right. Well, I think I just start off with a little Rush news.
Sure.
So the Rush Beyond the Lighted Stage doc
Right.
officially will be on television, will make its debut on June 26th on VH1 and VH1 Classic.
Wow,
so
nice.
Set your TiVos or stick your Post-it.
Stick your Post-it, is that what you said?
Stick your Post-it on your TV, and you'll be ready.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, they're going to do some theatrical release as well, right, before it makes it onto VH1?
Yeah?
Yeah, theatrical.
Cool.
Yeah, it's going to be in the theaters.
Oh, yes. It will be in the theaters, and it will also be in the theaters in the summertime.
Okay.
So it'll be in the theaters after it's already previewed on television as well. So
Oh, okay. Very good.
check your Lemley Theater, everyone.
I can't wait to see that. Did you see any of the YouTube clips, like some of the preview clips?
Yeah, there are clips also available on dailymotion.com. There's 2 from the film.
Is it got the one with them in their underpants?
No, I don't.
You need to go. You need to go back and look and check out the one with them in their underwear. It's fucking weird. I gotta tell you, it's uncomfortable. To
Rachel,
be honest with
I
you.
wish you could see how excited Brad is talking about Rush in their underpants right now.
Well,
Does
because
he have to change his underpants?
He's all smiles. He's all smiles
yes,
right now.
it's weird. I got chocolate pudding in my underpants. But it's so surreal to see those guys. Like, I don't know, they got like 16 years old or 15 years old, like running around like little kids in their underwear. It's so weird.
Wow.
Very, very bizarre.
Wow. Okay.
Highly recommend you check that out.
All right.
Well, I'm trying to find the film's poster, to buy. I really like posters. You guys haven't seen that yet.
Yeah,
the poster looked great.
I would like one of those myself.
So bizarre to see a Rush poster, like a Rush movie coming out. So it's just bizarre to me. I still haven't quite wrapped my head around that.
Yeah. It's going to be a big year. It's going to be a big year.
Right.
What else is going on in music news?
Okay, so a Michael Jackson Cirque du Soleil show is in the works. Under an agreement with MJ's estate, there will be 2 shows, actually. Both are going to be separately produced, one being a permanent show in Las Vegas, which will open the end of 2012, and that'll be in Las Vegas, and there's going to be an arena show that's going to tour 1 year in North America, and then for the next several years, going all around the world.
Oh, good.
Nice.
Well, that makes sense. I know they have.
because
they have Elvis in Vegas now, and I know they have the Beatles obviously in Vegas. So that's a perfect place, and that's just. I mean, talk about constant revenue for the Michael Jackson estate.
Sure.
It's perfect because it makes perfect sense.
But also the touring show makes sense as well because all of those dancers and all those musicians and all the production that they had prepared for the This Is It tour.
Right.
I'm sure they were just all sitting on their thumbs, going, "All right, what do we do now?"
I wonder how much of them are involved in that. Right?
I would bet that's what they're going to take on the road. with maybe pre-recorded Jackson on a screen or something like that, or
No, I
maybe
don't-
different singers.
Well, it's Cirque du Soleil, so there's
No,
got to be...
no, that's the Vegas show.
No, they're both. They're both Cirque du Soleil shows. So the touring one is Cirque du Soleil, and then the one that'll be in Vegas will be Cirque du Soleil.
Right.
But there'll be the acrobats, and it's got to have your typical Cirque du Soleil wacky flair to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I would hope that they would do what they did with the Beatles, which is remix some of those Michael Jackson songs. And, you know what I mean? So they can update them and remaster them, and so the sound is really pristine for some of those shows.
Yeah.
I'm in. I'd love to go see that, actually.
I don't know.
Maybe they'll just do 2 hours of Ben.
Yeah.
They said that on the live, the one that's on the road, they're trying to make it more of like a live performance setting, and they're trying to digitally actually produce like a life-size Michael Jackson on the middle of the stage.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember they did that a few years back with like a Sinatra show where they had an orchestra and they had like a three-dimensional image of Sinatra, which they had culled from old footage or whatever, and basically created like the Ben Kenobi hologram, but of Sinatra. And so you were watching Frank perform with a live orchestra.
Dude, this is bad.
They also did something equally as weird a couple of summers ago. I remember the Elvis Presley original band toured, and they just set up his jumpsuit in front of the mic, and they would show footage of him, and they would have his voice piped into the mix while the rest of the band played live. Very weird.
I don't like any of that.
I don't know if I feel okay with that.
I don't even know if I'm okay with that whole like Michael Jackson touring thing.
Yeah.
The fucking guy's dead.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Get over it, people.
over it. Seriously. Go to Disneyland and go see Captain EO, or you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Seriously, we're going to tour with him on a screen? Get the movie.
People are going to show up, though.
Of course they will.
Yeah.
In droves they will.
All right.
My goodness.
All right, what else? What else going on in the music news?
Well, I thought I'd mention this because this was on my bucket list.
Oh, yeah. We want to hear about what's on your bucket list.
Because my bucket list, I would want to see Pink Floyd get back together.
Sure.
You know, like everyone else. And on a side note, I'd also like to see the Misfits get back together with the original members, calling all original members.
I'd be right there with you.
But anyways, yeah. In lieu of that, Roger Waters is commemorating the 30th anniversary of The Wall, and he's going to do a 35 tour date of in America.
Right.
And he's playing the whole album, but it's just Roger Waters.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
You know what?
Give peace a chance, folks. Come on.
Well, I got to tell you, I have to disagree with you on this one because we saw Dark Side of the Moon a couple years ago, and it was stupid good.
It was stupid good.
And in this show, I have a feeling for me, that's on my bucket list. Would be The Wall.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can't imagine. Well, first of all, you don't see the band during The Wall anyway.
That's right.
So you don't know. So for me, anyway, it wouldn't necessarily matter who was in the band. Although at least knowing that Roger Waters in it at least adds the validity to it.
Right.
But it's all about the visuals. It's going to be all about the production and all about the vibe and the moment. And you know, we've talked a little bit about The Wall on the show on my feelings on The Wall, and I just. Like I said last week, this may be the best show of the next 10 years and of the last 10 years.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
We've seen Roger Waters on the last couple of tours. And, yeah, of course, it would always be nice to have the chemistry of him and Gilmour together on stage. But with some of the pieces that he's done, like Dark Side or, some of the even older stuff we've seen him do, his band is so impeccable. They pull it off. And other than the nostalgia, obviously, of seeing those four guys together, let's be honest, none of them were extremely animated on stage in Pink Floyd.
Well, Floyd was all about the production.
Yeah, it wasn't about, the amazing showmanship necessarily, although Gilmour's guitar solos were always incredible. It wasn't about showmanship with them. It was about the theatricality and the epicness, is that a word?
Yeah.
Of the music that they do. And so The Wall, like Brad said, I think it's just going to be epic. It was always Roger's piece in the first place. And half of the show, they're behind a wall.
Right.
So
my question would be on this tour is, are we getting The Wall and that's it, or are we getting The Wall and then some songs? I think we're getting The Wall and then
You're just getting The Wall.
You don't think we're getting some songs?
No. Even when they did the Wall tour, it was just The Wall.
Yeah, but this is a different time.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not going to cut any of The Wall out.
No, definitely not cutting The Wall out.
And that's
2.5 hours.
Yeah, that's with an intermission. They always do the intermission in the middle. I'm sure that won't change. So it's a full night.
That's all right by me.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rach. I can't wait for that show. I really can't.
We're on a little tangent there.
I get so excited when I think about that show.
But while we're on the subject, who else besides the original Pink Floyd and the Misfits would be on your concert bucket list?
Well, I know you said you don't want to bring dead people back to life. So.
Oh, I'd love to bring dead people back to life. If I had that power, I'd be a very rich man.
Who you got, Rach?
I've always said that if there was one person, like one band that I can go and see, like going back in time, it would be Queen. Like you said, Queen, maybe Killers Live.
Yeah.
And
that's
such a great album, and to be there, I would die. I would to see them.
That's a good era of Queen to see.
Yeah,
I would agree with that. I think
I had the pleasure of seeing Queen on many tours back in the day, and I got to tell you, it was always an epic affair, except one year. I remember, I saw Killers, I saw Jazz, I saw Day at the Races, I saw all those great tours. I saw The Game, which was amazing.
Right.
But I saw the Hot Space tour, and I just kind of looked puzzled the whole time, going, What is this about? I made really like.
Well, that record was like, what is that about?
Yeah,
that was a horrible record.
That was a weird tour. And then
that was a weird period.
And then, of course, after that, they didn't tour America again. Although they were doing, massive festivals and stadiums throughout Europe, all during like Innuendo and Kind of Magic and all of that. But they never came back to America after again.
Hot Space was an awful period for Queen. That would be great. Could you imagine Queen at Coachella?
Yes.
Holy moly.
Yes.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
What a scene that would be.
That's cool. Anything else in the music news?
Well, I thought I'd bring up Soundgarden had played their first reunion show on the 16th.
Right.
And I wanted to let everybody know, if they didn't know that already, to go and check it out, because on blabbermouth.com, you can actually listen to the whole live show.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's 15 songs with 3 encore songs, so I mean, there's a lot to listen to, and I have to say that I'm kind of disappointed. It's what I expected from Chris Cornell, his range right now with his voice. It's not going to be what it was back in the day, but I was a little disappointed.
Yeah.
I guess I was hoping secretly that maybe, he was going to pull something off, but it just didn't happen for me. But I would still go see him.
Yeah. Well,
don't get me wrong.
It's an interesting set list, too. I mean, I have the set list sitting in front of me, so let me rattle some of that off for you really quick. So they opened with Spoon Man, and then they did Gun, Searching with My Good Eye Closed, Rusty Cage, Beyond the Wheel, Flower, Ugly Truth, Fell on Black Days, Hunted Down, Nothing to Say, Loud Love, Blow Up the Outside World, Pretty Noose, Outshine, Slaves and Bulldozers. And the encore was Get on the Snake, Big Dumb Sex, and then the Doors cover of Waiting for the Sun, which is a very odd cover.
And is it just me, or is it weird that Black Hole Sun was nowhere in that set?
Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness. They did it for the fans.
Yeah.
For the true fans.
All right. No, I could appreciate that.
Well, it's an interesting, the set list is very, that's a heavy show. Like I can imagine being there. I told Joe earlier, it would be like, that to me is like a Sabbath show. And the song for me, obviously, that was missing is Jesus Christ Pose, because I think that to me is one of the most perfect Soundgarden songs ever written. But I love this set, to be honest with you. It's really heavy on all the old stuff. It's a monster set. But opening with Spoon Man's a little weird.
Yeah, no doubt.
I didn't listen to any of the. I listened to a little bit of one of the songs. You said it just didn't sound great, or it did sound good, or
it's like even with Spoon Man, which isn't necessarily, I think, for him back in the day. I don't think that was a necessarily hard song.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, even with that, I was like, but I don't really care for that song anyways. But but he couldn't do Jesus Christ Pose. I mean, that song would kill him vocally, I think.
He would actually fall over and die on stage.
Explode.
Yeah.
Okay.
He'd be like a fembot.
Nice.
All right, I got to go find that now. I got to listen to that. I can't wait for. I hope to God that they tour. I can't wait for that.
Nice.
So I'm in.
All right. Rachel, thanks so much for sharing. We're glad you're feeling better. Your fans are glad you're back. And we're going to be chatting off and on quite a bit in the upcoming weeks about a little show that we're all going to go to.
Good night, Rach. Have a good one.
Good night, guys.
Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
This is funny. I'm reading I'm just reading some of the review from that show, from the Soundgarden show. See, kicking off with their hit Spoon Man and closing with the Doors cover of Waiting for the Sun. The surprise performance comes just 4 months After Chris Cornell announced the Soundgarden would return, let's see. He said, I guess Cornell said, that's Kim, that's Ben, that's Matt. And that's how Cornell introduced the band halfway through the 2-hour set. I guess they said everybody looked old.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said especially like Kim Thayil,
Yeah.
who I think's just, that dude's a stud. That guy's just a monster guitar player.
You know, old or not, if they could play and they could give the fans what they want, it's just one more band that people could cross off their bucket list. Because again, here's a band that probably could play and they could give the fans what they want. It's just one more band that people could cross off their bucket list. Because again, here's a band that probably a ton of people who got into them too late never had the opportunity to see Soundgarden. They might have seen a Chris Cornell show, but always wanted to see Soundgarden. So the last couple of days, Faith No More, back on stage in North America. Soundgarden. Another one I wanted to mention to you was a buddy of mine, Jeff Redding, who plays with Duff McKagan in the band Loaded.
Yeah.
Hung out with him a couple of days ago. He's doing great. And he mentioned to me that another reunion was going on. I want to say it was last Thursday night in Seattle. So fans of Mother Love Bone, who never got to see the band originally.
I think a lot of people didn't get to see that band, yeah.
They had a unique opportunity to cross a band off their bucket list.
So weird.
Because all the original members, of course, Andrew wasn't there, but Sean Smith from the band Brad and the band Satchel, he filled in on vocal duties, and they got to do a Mother Love Bone show.
Yeah, that's so bizarre to me. I mean, that's like the quietest. That was just so quiet. Like, I didn't read anything about that. I didn't see anything about that.
Yeah, I'll have to look online.
And that's a big deal, man.
I'll have to look online and find a little bit more about it. But Jeff told me about it, and it was a benefit. So they probably kept it kind of low key.
Well, you see, the thing with Mother Love Bone is that Mother Love Bone was the impetus for all that whole Seattle scene.
Right.
And if you're not into the Mother Love Bone stuff, it's because that record was released and Andrew Wood died pretty quickly after that, and so it just sort of came and went. But what spawned from all of that being, the Soundgardens and the Pearl Jams and stuff, and obviously Temple of the Dog, which is a whole tribute to Andrew Wood, it sort of took on a life of its own.
Right.
So I'm just really surprised that a band that was so important like Mother Love Bone was just sort of, we're just going to do this sort of one-off gig and no one's going to know about it, and that seems so weird to me.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean...
Doesn't make any sense.
Between Mother Love Bone and Soundgarden and Faith No More, a lot of people had a chance to cross bands off their bucket list. And we're going to talk about our bucket list. We also want to hear who's on your concert bucket list. Who have you always wanted to see and would love to see live? Give us a call, 888-405-7440. And before we get to that, I just wanted to mention one other act that probably a lot of people this weekend at Coachella anyway got to cross off their bucket list of acts that they never thought they would see live, and that was Sly Stone, who is notoriously...
Well, from what I understand, they never did see him live.
Yeah, that's funny, because...
They just heard a rambling fucking monstrosity of nothingness.
Right. Well, even though the Coachella crowd got to witness, quote-unquote, a Sly Stone set, technically, I still don't think they could cross it off their bucket list, because he was effectively a...
MIA.
He was there physically. He was there physically, but not really a part of the show.
But he was MIA.
Yeah, apparently he came on 3 hours late because he was on one of the side stages, and the promoter kept coming out and saying, no, we're going to bring on so-and-so next, and Sly's coming later. And they kept pushing him back from his 8 o'clock slot until like 11:30 or something like that. Yeah. And when he finally came on, I think they did like a 45-minute set of most of his classic 60s hits, but... He was standing there apparently in a blonde wig, which is weird. He had a microphone, but he only used it like 3 or 4 times during the whole set. Most of the time just sat there and watched the band.
Yeah.
Occasionally he would shout a couple of words into the microphone. Other times he was just lying down on the back. And
it's almost George Clinton-like. I've seen George Clinton do that with Parliament and Funkadelic before.
Apparently when he first came out on stage, before they even started the set, he spent the first 5 minutes on a diatribe about some lawsuit that he's in
with his manager.
Yeah. And then the band, to their credit, they kicked in and they did the set of the hits. But Sly just kind of sang a few lyrics here and there, and then just walked off in the middle of the show, and was never to be seen again.
I actually spent some time with Sly Stone about 15 years ago. Actually,
Oh, yeah?
when he was a normal dude.
When he was a normal dude.
Yeah, before he got. This was in between the first incarnation of drug use, and then he cleaned himself up a little bit and got normal. And I used to spend some time down in his studio, his rehearsal studio. And he was a great guy. And talk about a completely, the antithesis of what you just read. He was totally coherent, totally nice guy, really insightful, smart guy.
Yeah.
Really easy to hang out with, just a generally cool guy.
Yeah.
And, and then one day, a few of us went down to go see Sly, and Sly was MIA.
Yeah.
And then he showed up again at the Grammys. And when they did that funk thing, and he didn't really show up.
Yeah, and barely. I mean, he was there physically again.
Yeah,
but
the only person and that was all like the Chili Peppers and all those guys doing this big tribute to funk and Sly
Right.
Stone, and he was MIA, and the poor guy he's long gone.
Yeah, well,
and it's weird because this is two different Sly Stones you're talking about now.
Yeah.
I mean now, because the Sly Stone that I knew, no joke, it's a completely different guy.
Yeah.
And this guy was he was a bright, normal guy. He was, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and now he's just lost and gone.
Without going on to any kind of Axl Rose diatribe, which we could easily do right now, the obvious comparison is that, Axl notoriously didn't show up for shows at times. But when he did, he was there, he was in the moment, he rocked, he went through the show. And
Most of the time.
And he did his deal.
Yeah.
What went down at Coachella wasn't kind of like wacky behavior. It was more borderline mental illness. There was something else going on here entirely.
Yeah. Believe me, I'm the first one to jump on all over Axl Rose. I have no problem going on a diatribe.
I jump his bones.
Yeah, about that motherfucker. But in all fairness, I don't think it's fair to compare the two. I think they're on completely different levels. I mean, Axl, to a certain degree, like you said, at least when he shows up and he plays, 99.5% of the time,
yeah,
the dude's right on.
Yeah.
And he nails it.
Right.
And you know what I mean? And he works his ass off live. I mean, Axl Rose is a hard worker when it comes to his live performance.
Yeah.
Where Sly is, how that guy even got to Coachella, I think, is a miracle.
Yeah, indeed. So, I guess what we've learned here is if you're a Guns N' Roses fan, you can technically go to a show where the ticket says Guns N' Roses and hear Guns N' Roses music sung by Axl, and you could technically, I guess, cross it off your bucket list. But if you go see Sly Stone, I still don't think you get to cross it off.
Not a chance.
No.
Actually, even Axl, I don't know. How about Guns N' Roses headlining Coachella?
It's a little heavy for Coachella, but it would work.
Oh, it would be huge if it was all the original members.
Oh yeah, then it would certainly.
That's massive.
Then it would certainly be in the running.
Yeah,
but it begs the question, brother man, who's on your concert bucket list?
Well, I mentioned The Wall, of course.
Yeah.
Definitely The Wall,
Yeah.
And I will be so excited to cross that off my list. And
yeah,
regardless of the fact that it's just Roger Waters, that's enough for me, to be honest with you. There's something very special about that record, and I think something very special about that tour. I guess I would also have to say Zeppelin. You know what I mean? Zeppelin's got to be on that list. And, I'll even take... I don't know. I don't want to say this and be disrespectful because it is Led Zeppelin, for God's sakes. But, Robert Plant can't quite hit those notes. And unfortunately, I just have a feeling that the closest thing I'll ever see to Zeppelin, even if Zeppelin really toured, was that Black Crowes and Jimmy Page tour, where Chris Robinson sang those notes and he ripped it up.
And that was great, but that hardly would qualify, at least for me, that would hardly qualify as Zeppelin.
But it's not, but I mean, he just can't sing the songs that I want to hear again.
Dude, I have spent countless hours watching and rewatching the bootleg video of the reunion show that they did in London about 2 years ago.
Right,
he was right on the money. So
right.
I would certainly qualify that show.
Nah, that's not the set I want to see though. It's good set. It's a good set.
That was a pretty great set.
Yeah, that's not the set I want to see.
Okay. Well, now you're getting into the set list specifics.
Well, cool. Well, I'm going to get into eras.
Okay, but
listen. Perfect example is what Rachel said about Queen.
Yeah,
that's the era. That's the era of Queen I want to see.
Understood. But that was most definitely a Zeppelin set that they did.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing with that. Yeah. It's just not the set that, like I said, it's not the set I want to see. He can't sing the songs I'd like to see again. But that's okay. it would be something about seeing those two guys on stage together. I guess I should say three and a half guys with
Right.
Jason. That's what would be super magical about seeing a Zeppelin show.
Sure.
Is seeing, John Paul Jones, Robert Plant, and Jimmy Page together again. And even with Jason Bonham, I think to me that works. That definitely qualifies as Zeppelin, like you said. So I don't want to like I said, I don't want to disparage what we saw in that reunion show and the one reunion show.
Right.
I just don't. He just can't quite sing what I would need him to sing again. That's all.
All right. fair enough.
But again, if they toured, I'd be the first one there, and it would qualify and knock it off the bucket list.
Sure.
So
Sure.
that's what I wanted to make sure I clarified.
Who else? Who else is on your
I
list?
was going to let you go. Go ahead.
Well,
I hit mine too.
I was going to say, as you could see here, I actually brought in a prop, and this is my my list that I've been maintaining.
Props work perfect for radio.
Yeah, absolutely. No, this is the list that I've been maintaining pretty much all my life. At one point, it was on a yellow notebook paper, and then eventually it worked its way into an Excel spreadsheet. And this is a list of over 2,100 concerts that I've been to in chronological order. When we decided we were going to talk about the concert bucket lists, I spent a little time thinking, looking at my CD collection and looking at my concert list and thinking about some bands that I'd never seen. I was hard pressed. I've pretty much seen everybody that I've wanted to see. Now, having said that, there were a couple of obvious exceptions, and the one big missing spot, the big hole, the gaping hole in my concert career is Zeppelin. I saw Page Plant many times, but that's not Zeppelin.
Nope.
I saw Plant, I saw Page, I've seen Jones, but I never saw them as Led Zeppelin. And that's, like you said, that's the one thing that I would really love to cross off my list. I was so close to seeing the London show, but Marillion were playing that night, so...
Which is absolute bullshit. I'm sorry, dude.
Oh, no, it was a great show that night. Marillion did, too. I couldn't miss it.
Wait a second. It was a great show Marillion did that night, who plays fairly often.
Well, I see them every year.
Against Zeppelin, who... I don't know. When was the last time Zeppelin played?
Yeah, a little while ago.
Yeah, a few days ago.
A little while ago. Yeah,
but that's all right. I understand.
I was torn. But so Zeppelin, obviously. But then, I really had to scratch my head and think about this. And again, I was going by the rule of if they're dead, it doesn't qualify.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
So, yeah, I mean, Hendrix, Beatles, Doors, anything like that. That's not really practical.
Fair enough.
There are certainly many bands that I've seen that I would love for them to reunite.
Right.
That
doesn't count.
Yeah, but a couple that come to mind immediately would be I would love for Jellyfish to tour again. I would love to see the Sundays again, or Stanley with Life, Sex, Death.
Sure.
But those are not the kind of things we're talking about. So Zeppelin is really the main one for me. The other one, and you can laugh at me if you want, but I have always wanted to see Kate Bush live. She did one tour in 1979 and never made it to the U.S. And that's it. That was her live performance career.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest Kate Bush fan, but I get that especially because of the fact that she done one tour.
Yeah.
So
and that was only like a 10-date tour, and I have bootlegs for most of those shows too.
No, that's a good one. Somebody actually mentioned, because I put it up on our Facebook page. I put the question up last week, and somebody had mentioned the Smiths. Yeah. Which I thought was good, too.
That would certainly be one I would love to see. I mean, I've seen Morrissey countless times.
Yeah.
A huge fan. But sort of like when we talked about the Pink Floyd reunion, the Smiths were not the most animated guys. And so it was really just the chemistry of having Morrissey and Johnny Marr on stage. Pretty much anybody could have played bass and drums in that band, and it still would have been the Smiths.
But I think the thing with that is it's about seeing the original band play the original songs.
No, I get that.
It's similar to, remember we were talking about McCartney last week and how it's different to hear other people play a Beatles song, but when you hear the guy that wrote it play it, it's just... There's something inherently different about it.
Yeah.
I don't think that'd be the same with the Smiths.
Sure.
I'd like to see that show.
Absolutely. I'd be right there for that.
That's the rumor every year at Coachella is the Smiths.
Yeah.
Every year.
And another one along those same lines, although it's very difficult for me to defend it being on a bucket list, I've seen Genesis, 150 shows.
Yeah.
Since 77 or whatever. But I never got to see him with Gabriel.
And that's the last one on my bucket list.
Yeah. I certainly would love to see that one time in my life and cross that off my bucket list. But like I said, I've seen Genesis so many times, it's really hard to defend that as a bucket list pick. But
no, I don't think so. I think that's absolutely fair with because it's the Gabriel era Genesis that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Because I would mention one more just really quick. I would like to see, I think, Sabbath, which I've seen Sabbath with Ozzy and without Ozzy. But I think I would like to see them in their absolute prime. Whether Ozzy is just a mess and it's a train wreck, I think I'd really like to see them in their prime. I'd almost like to see like the Paranoid tour, just to see it.
Okay,
do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like to know that that's like they're immersed in Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
It's not like, it's not Ozzy Osbourne back again with Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
It's Black Sabbath as a whole.
I see where you're going with this, because even the last couple of times when we did see Sabbath, and that one arena show when they were doing like the first big Black Sabbath tour,
right?
Even that, although Tony and Geezer and Mr. Bill Ward were kind of fully immersed in the blackness of it all, Ozzy was still the cartoon,
and he was the star.
Yeah,
and it was. I know that he was a star in Sabbath, but it was they were Black Sabbath. It wasn't Ozzy and Sabbath.
Yeah,
so,
every time he threw a pail of water at the audience, it was like, oh wait a minute, so that's the guy from Ozfest,
right?
And then you'd look over at Tony and you go, oh wait, that's the guy from Masters of Reality.
Right. No,
and
you nailed it. That's that's exactly what it is.
It was worlds colliding, and it didn't feel like the Time Machine tour.
Wasn't it great? Yeah, I mean. Yeah, that's exactly right. But I think I'd like to see that middle era Sabbath.
Sure.
That'd be something to see, right?
I'm with you. Anybody else on your bucket list that comes to mind? I thought of a couple of lesser bands.
With John Anderson.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not saying we haven't seen you. I'm just trying to fucking hint.
Yeah.
Any chance those guys could fucking get their heads together and play?
I guarantee next year or 2 years tops, they'll be back with John.
Missed opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Clash, although that's not fair because one's dead.
Yeah, I saw them a bunch of times. I was never a fan, though.
I love the Clash.
For my punk rock dollar, it was always about the Pistols, and for a long time they were on my bucket list.
Yeah,
and I finally got to see that a few years back, and it was everything I'd hoped for.
Yeah, see, I saw it and it was awful.
I loved it.
But I would say, I'd like to see that original version of the Pistols.
Yeah,
I think that would be something to see.
A couple of legitimately realistic touring acts that I've never seen, some recent, some not so recent, that are on my bucket list are I'm still ready to see ACT.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Fun band on record, and I would really like to see what that looks like live. And then the complete opposite, going old school to like early 70s prog. I've never seen Vandergraaf Generator, and I think that would be a trip.
I'd see that.
And then just for sheer giggles,
shits and giggles,
Daddy Lolo, right?
Yeah.
What if he came?
Who's that guy?
I don't know. I would love to find out.
Who is that guy?
I would love to find out.
Who is that guy?
If he came through town, he'd be playing like some little dive bar or something like that, and that would be a trip.
Yeah,
Daddy Lolo live.
Yeah,
maybe you hear a few seconds of Daddy Lolo at the end of the show.
We used to play it.
Yeah, we'll play it again tonight.
Yeah, that's a pretty good list. I'm trying to think who else, just off the top of my head, era-wise, that I would need to see. Maybe somebody I've seen, but there's like the Sabbath kind of thing that I specifically need to see a portion of their career.
Yeah, I could go all day with that, but I mean, I'm still waiting for the Triumph reunion. Again, I saw Triumph a million times, but I'd love to see them come out as the lean rocking machine from like Just a Game
lean
era.
Rock and Roll Machine.
Yeah, from like the Just a Game era or something like that. Before they started, Rick Emmett started cheesing up the hits.
Right. This will sound silly, but Fleetwood Mac was on my list for a while, but I saw them. They were great. And I got to tell you something, dude. They were great. Surprisingly good.
Yeah.
I was like convinced that this had potential to be a total train wreck, and it wasn't. It was very good, very good. I think maybe the Eagles might be on. I don't know.
No.
Can I really sit through a fucking Eagles set?
No. I saw them once back in the day. I saw the Long Run tour, and that was enough. It was, I
don't know if I could sit through an Eagles set.
I never need to see that again.
No.
But that's pretty much my bucket list. It's mostly about Zeppelin. That's the one missed opportunity. In fact, I have this vivid memory that still haunts me of not haunts me but bugs me. I remember coming out of the LA Sports Arena after I think it was the Women and Children First tour of Van Halen,
right?
And everybody that was piling out of the arena, we had just been rocked in a hard way, and it was a great set. But everybody in the parking lot was talking about the same thing. After the show, everybody was cranking the local radio station, KMET,
Right.
and the DJ, Jim Ladd, was announcing that Zeppelin were coming to town and tickets were about to go on sale. And
Right.
that the whole parking lot was just buzzing with, Zeppelin's coming! Zeppelin's coming! And we were so excited. And it was literally like days later when Bonham died, and it was like, oh, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's funny. I was just scanning through this Rolling Stone thing, which I'm talking about in a second. But you know what I'd like to see? I think I would like to see U2 in a club. I don't even know if I want to see this U2 in a club.
You want to see them do the boy show in a club.
I think so.
I saw that.
I think I do. I think I want to see that tour.
The country club in Reseda.
Yeah, I
got to see that.
I do. I think I'd like to see that. Although I have to say, maybe a little later than Boy.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple tunes I think I'd like to hear in a club. Maybe like The Unforgettable Fire.
Oh, sure.
How about if we start, I'd like to see that in a club.
Sure. Yeah. They didn't do clubs when they did the Unforgivable
No.
Fire tour, that's for
No.
sure. They were already an arena act at that point.
No. But I do have, what was that? What was the record right before?
War.
I'm drawing a blank. No.
Before that was October.
No. Easy, Tiger.
Okay.
Hold on. Take a deep breath.
Okay.
I'm gonna help you out. The right before How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb.
Oh.
The one with it was like the first.
The one with-
U2's back.
The one with Beautiful Day.
Yeah. It's the one I can never remember the title of. Anyway,
Yeah.
when they did the, when they were kicking off that tour, they did that one club show in New York, which I listened to fairly often because they did 11 o'clock TikTok on that.
Right,
And,
right.
and they were so good. And I've always thought, God, I'd love to see this in a club, but maybe an earlier version of U2.
Yeah.
So anyway, but it reminded me of that because I was looking through this fucking Rolling Stone. Let me just tell you about this version, this Rolling Stone, dude. So I get my Rolling Stone in the mail, and I'm usually pretty excited to read it. And I look on the cover, and it's the fucking Black Eyed Peas,
Right.
And the tagline is 40 Reasons to Get Excited About Music, starring the Black Eyed Peas.
Boo.
Are you fucking kidding? Who in God's name? First of all, it's such a stretch to call this music. It's just awful. It's just computer-generated crap. And it's not even if I like it or not. It's just the mere fact that this is what's representing music. This is fucking horrible. I was so disgusted. So I open it up, and I'm looking at it, and there's a whole article about will.i.am is fucking useless. That guy's garbage. And, it's him. And, of course, it's got all the quotes from Bono, and it's got all the quotes from all these different people raving about this fucking guy. And it's just so disgusting. So I'm looking through, and I'm trying to figure out what it is that they're getting excited about music about, right? And let's just see. Oh, let's see. That's number one. Number two would be rock festivals rule. Okay, fair enough.
Fair enough.
Okay, how about number three? The Hip Hop Arena Show has arrived.
Number 9.
Really? The Hip Hop Arena Show has arrived? So basically what they're saying is Jay-Z is one of the 40 reasons to be excited about music again.
What's number 6, just out of curiosity?
It would be James Murphy. LCD Sound System, define sound now. That was cheesy, dude. That was cheesy. Come on. So let's see. Number 8, Them Crooked Vultures. Finally a music group.
Nice.
What a fucking change for Rolling Stone. I get so annoyed when I look at this shit where such a mainstream magazine like Rolling Stone is promoting this garbage like the Black Eyed Peas when there's so many other bands out there like a Porcupine Tree. Not that they got to be on the cover of Rolling Stone,
Right.
but that's the reason to get excited about music again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's exciting to get about music again is U2. That's exciting. I would agree. The Arena U2 tour invading America, which was like number 4 on that list. That's right. I get that.
Yeah.
Even a new U2 record, I'll buy. I'm in. That's something to be excited about. What about, unfortunately, we have to revisit the 70s again, or the 80s, pardon me, the 80s again, with Roger Waters and The Wall. But that's exciting. That's music, I feel like they put us in this position where it's just fucking mindless dribble with the Black Eyed Peas. And it gets me very, very, very frustrated, to say the least. And I understand it's pop music. I understand people like it, but Jesus Christ. Really? I mean, let's just call it what it is.
Yeah, totally.
And I get very frustrated when it's not in the right category. So I feel like we need to separate the two. Let's separate music, and then let's separate, the pop culture phenomenon that maybe is the Black Eyed Peas. Make sense?
All that you can't leave behind.
Well done. Very good. That was a great record.
Totally.
That was like the comeback U2 record.
It's a beautiful day.
Yeah. That was really good.
You got an email.
Oh, I did.
What's that all about? No, I mean email. What's that all about? So you like type on like a little device?
Electronic
How does
mail.
that work?
Okay, here we go. This is from our buddy Darren. And he was commenting about his song request for the Time Machine tour would be for Rush to bring Kim Mitchell on stage and do Battle Scar, since that song is also 30 years old.
I'm totally with him. Battle Scar would be awesome. I would throw one more his way. I would love to see them bring Ben Mink on stage from the band FM. Used to be in the band FM to do Losing It with violin. They've never done that live.
That'd be good.
It would also be kind of fun just for a goof to bring out Amy Mann for Time Stands Still. I don't know if they've ever performed that live together. I don't think so.
No. I don't know. I think that'd be cute, but she'd get in the way.
Yeah.
I'd be totally honest with you. She'd get in the way.
Ben Mink would be way more fun.
Yeah, or Kim Mitchell. I mean, that's right. That's what you want to see, those guys participate.
Totally.
So I'm in with that. He also says, this is for you, Joe. He talks. He says Jacob Moon, who is the guy that covered Subdivisions on YouTube. He did that on his roof. If you remember seeing that.
Right.
He also played that at the Songwriters Hall of Fame for Rush when Rush was inducted. He had the following mention from a fan on his Facebook page. And he said, I hope you don't mind, but I've just started a group on Facebook to get people to add their support to get you to play at the next Marillion convention in Montreal next spring.
Nice.
Marillion played there last year for 3 nights with some very good support acts, and I think, from what I've heard on YouTube, that you would fit in very well. Well, Jacob's response was, I've been a Marillion fan since I was 16, and Fish was the lead singer. Seen them countless times. This would be a huge blessing. I should set about doing a cover sometime soon. Any requests? So he says it would be cool if you could get Jacob Moon on Used Radio, which would be awfully fun to do. I think we could probably get that handled.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Very, very funny. And, it's funny, when you ask people what they like or what they listen to.
Yeah.
It's funny when the responses that you get. You get a lot more Rushes, Marillions, Porcupine Trees, like things of that nature than you might think.
Yeah, like
from
when
people
we
you wouldn't think.
When we talked to Shooter Jennings, of all people.
Yeah.
And,
Concept album fanatic.
Yeah. You would have figured, it was going to be a long list of
His dad's
Hank
friends.
Williams Jr. and, and that kind of stuff, Alabama or something like that.
I think that's on his list.
Rush, but Rush was really high on his list.
You want to know the one that blew me away?
What?
Was Ministry.
Yeah, right.
He went into a diatribe about Filth Pig. That was bizarre.
Since we just mentioned Fish from Marillion, a little news story about Fish. He's going through his fourth breakup, but second big divorce, and it sounds like this is going to be an ugly one. Apparently, he got married last year to Katie. I don't know Katie's last name or maiden name. Anyway. She had a real problem with the fact that Fish lives on a farm in a really remote area of East Lothian, Scotland, and he has gardens and pigs and hens and the whole farm situation. And after the first winter, where she couldn't leave the house for 3 months, she got a little stir crazy. And just before Christmas, she said she was going to go visit her family for Christmas in London. Didn't see or hear from Katie again until he finally tracked her down around Valentine's Day, and she said, "I'm just not in. I'm just not in." So the bad news is that Fish is going through another heartache. The great news is that Fish is going through another heartache because every time this guy goes through one of those situations, we get a record. So the next one's going to be major. In fact, not only a record, but because he's just recovering from his throat operation, which apparently went very well. In addition to working on a new record, he's also working on his autobiography, which is going to be called Dear Derek. And it's going to talk all about his tangled love life.
Nice.
So that's going to be a good dark read.
Of course it will.
Yeah, and there'll be a whole chapter on Kaylee.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's always fun. Well, not really fun, but fun for us.
Fun
like
for
you said.
us.
Yeah. Poor fish.
Yeah.
We all prosper at his pain.
Absolutely.
We revel. In fact, we revel in his pain.
But
Poor
isn't
guy.
that always the case when our favorite, especially in Prague, but also in pop, when the best writers go through the worst times of their life,
Yeah.
that's when you get the
Sure.
good stuff. When Phil Collins is happy, you get Susudio.
Yeah.
When he's not, you get the 11th Earl of Mar and One for the Vine and stuff like
I'm
that.
not going to argue with you. It's true.
Billy Joel gets married, you get Uptown Girl. What's up?
What was wrong with Uptown Girl? It wasn't such a bad tune.
No, but it was awfully cheesy.
It was a little less cheesy than
Michael Bublé.
There's nothing cheesier than Michael Bublé, let me tell you. I don't know. I agree with you. It's obvious. It's always through the pain that you get you seem to get their best work. Look at The Wall. You know what I mean?
Although, for exactly that reason, I will say that I was slightly disappointed with the lyrics on Vapor Trails, just from a humanistic point of view. It was great. Lyrically, it was great. It was, classic Neil.
I know what you mean.
But it wasn't the heart on my sleeve open letter about, my wife and my daughter, and
But
I miss them, and the darkness in my life.
You were never going to get
It was,
that.
yeah, I guess he's too private of a
He's
guy
not
for
that
that.
guy. Yeah, he doesn't write about that kind of stuff. I mean, listen, just to his credit, he was writing again, period.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
I don't think we're never going to get the
Although
the true story there.
secretly, I kind of wished we would have gotten,
Well,
the
listen.
dark concept album from Neil.
Well, read the book, right?
Yeah,
Read Ghostwriter. I mean, Ghostwriter is that.
It's quite a read.
So, yeah, to his credit. So, yeah. So that's always good. I saw something really quick before we wrap this fucker up for the night.
Yeah.
That I thought was really funny. What do you think about Iron Maiden opening the 2012 London Olympic Games?
That's wacky.
I'm in.
That's wacky.
Sign me up.
What song are they going to play? Are they going to play something written for the Olympics, or are they going to open?
Let me read you this story.
Okay.
So it says, Iron Maiden and the 2012 London Olympic Games, a strange combination. Not to over 92,000 Facebook fans who have joined a rapidly growing campaign for the iconic British heavy metal group to open the UK Games, which means athletes won't be running laps. They'll be running to the hills. Oh! On the Facebook page called 1 Million Strong for Iron Maiden to open the 2012 London Olympic Games, a message reads, Iron Maiden are one of the most successful bands to come out of England that are still active and arguably the biggest metal band of all time. They deserve to play and represent their hometown of London, England in 2012. There's a virtual petition I'm going to pass along to whoever I can get to get Maiden to play the London Olympic Games. Let's see. Love Iron Maiden, up the irons. During the recent Olympic Winter Games, many competing athletes were said to listen to heavy metal on their iPods before competing. So to have Maiden open the Olympic Games sounds perfect.
Yeah, I'm in.
I'll sign the petition.
I'm so in.
But let's be honest, it ain't happening.
It ain't happening.
No.
But that's, so much cooler than what probably will happen, which will be, like a, I don't know, Spice Girls reunion,
Tom Jones or something.
Boytown or something.
Yeah, it'll be like Tom Jones. or something
maybe
like that.
maybe you get a Robbie Williams or something, but I don't know.
There's no way Maiden plays the Olympics. Or Rush would play the Winter Olympics. No way that would happen.
No way that would happen.
Yeah, no way.
But here's something interesting about going to see your favorite live bands. If you happen to be a fan of the band Deer Hunter,
yeah,
which I know you are, do you know about this story?
DEER?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't.
All right. Well. Lots of bands have, these special deals where, you join their fan club or whatever and you get a password so you could do pre-sale, or maybe they got special deals where you could buy, like Dream Theater, you could buy tickets that they have reserved in the first 10 rows for all the time.
Right.
Deer Hunter's got something really special going on. For $125, which is not a lot when you consider what they're going to give you, it's a lifetime fan club membership, which gives you their first 2 albums on clear vinyl, a bunch of stuff that you could download that's been unavailable,
right?
And a Deer Hunter passport, which guarantees you entrance to any show, anywhere, anytime.
Oh, nice!
How about
very
that?
clever.
That's pretty cool.
Great. Yeah, I like that.
They're calling it the Golden Ticket.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's funny. I saw. How much time do we have here? We have a couple minutes.
Couple minutes.
2 minutes. Really quick. Then there was
2
a
minutes.
band. There was a band I saw that a guy who was raising money online, and I think it was like for $100. If everybody sent this guy $100, he was going to make a record, and he was going to tour off the record and sell it and all that stuff. And he would give you, when he hit a certain number, he would give you your $100 back, and then in return for that, you would get a lifelong ticket to any show the guy ever played anywhere in the world for the rest of his life.
I like it.
Which I thought was a pretty interesting idea. I don't know if that ever happened or not, but pretty interesting idea. So there you go. All right, so let's take care of some business and then we'll get the fuck out of here. How about you can get your piece of the internet with GoDaddy.com. Go to PureRockRadio.net/
Not Axel.
GoDaddy for coupon codes like 10% off all GoDaddy hosting plans.
Nice.
$5 off any GoDaddy purchases of $30 or more.
Sweet.
Or $7.49 domain name.
Kick ass. So, like for $7.49, I could get Faith No More is really cool.com.
That's right.
All right.
Hey, thanks to this new partnership, all purchases using our coupon codes will directly benefit shows like the one you're listening to right now. That's PureRockRadio.net/
Not Axel.
GoDaddy for a complete list of coupon codes, or enter POD 167 to save 10% on all GoDaddy hosting packages today. All right. So
that's about it.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
You're listening to the live internet broadcast on Pure Rock Radio.
At PureRockRadio.net.